welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, quick reminder. I do have quite a few different events that you can attend, learning events, learning opportunities. Please go check it out, k33academy.com/store. That's where you can find it. All right. So I'm going to be doing a reading. I asked what this reading was going to be about. And what I heard is everything is about to turn around big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. Let me process. Okay. Let me just process what I need to process. All right. Let's just pull some. Yep. Oops. Sorry. Here it goes. How's everyone doing? Hi, E-Bunny. It's been a while. How are you? How are the babies? Okay. Here it goes, guys. My hair. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, no, my hair is crazy today. It's crazy every day. But today is extra. Extra. All right, guys. Here goes. For real this time. For real. This time. For real. The anxiety. Oh my gosh. Are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? Like it feels like it feels like maybe it's making me real hot all of a sudden. Real hot. All right. Let's just try to not pass out while we are doing this. Okay. Here goes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. It's good. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. I think Soul is saying it's not fine, but it, it made one of my eyes close while the other one is struggling to stay open. Your girl can only take so much. Your girl can only take so much. I think I need to be cuddled. Yeah, I told my husband, he didn't clear this, but I told him before I start the reading, just to like take my mind off stuff, because I'm kind of at a point now. I feel like I'm about to spaz out. That's just kind of how I feel at this point. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you this, okay? I told my husband, I don't care what he says. I'm going to show you guys this, right? So I'm going to show you this, and then you'll understand. Yo, my man be beefy. He is like full on Dorito status. I was taking pictures of him. He didn't know he was working on something with the car. I didn't even care what at this point. I was just like, oh Lord. Oh Lord. So I just kind of wanted to show that to you just for my own Because he's, oh my God. I'm saying. Now you guys see why I need to cancel his access to the gym. He needs to stop. He needs to stop. It's too much. I can't take it. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I mean, I can handle it, but I can't handle it. Okay, let me stop. Let me be serious for real. Okay, so let's look at it one more time. Ooh. Let me stop looking at it. Okay, for real now. So this is about some type of masculine energy, right? This is about a masculine energy that will be allowed to come into union with your own. Now, I don't know who this is going to be for you. I don't know if it's going to actually be a guy or if this is just someone who has masculine energy. Like my energy is masculine, so it could be me. No, you're not going to come into union with me, please. No, you're not. So, yeah, no, this is something where you're going to be connecting with another individual who has a masculine type vibe, masculine type energy to them. And this is going to be pushed all the way through into fruition. Your higher self is going to push this into fruition. You're not going to get a say in this. You're just not. This is something that needs to happen for you at this point. It's this sense of this, whatever reunification, reconnection, whatever it is. It's for your own protection. It's to complete the circle. It's to complete the circle of protection around you specifically, right? So whoever this is, it's not going to be someone who is trying to force themselves upon you. It's not going to be a person who's been disrespectful of your space, your time, your thoughts, or any of that. You know what I mean? It's just, this is someone that is extremely mindful of you and your sensitivities and all of that. They're like super duper hyper aware of, I think, how sensitive you are to energy, to intentions, all of that. And so they're respectful. That's the key. This is not a reading about a toxic person, at least this part. I don't know. Someone toxic might come through later. Who knows? But this part of the reading, where you're going to be put into connection with a masculine energy for your own protection. This is someone who respects you deeply. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you don't know, you're about to find out. And the reason this needs to happen is because the feminine energy has kind of been turned upside down as of late. It doesn't mean that you're crazy or anything like that. It just means that the energy has been cycling through, very intensely cycling through, and it's to purge out all the impurities. I don't know what that means. I'm just regurgitating what Michael is saying right now. It's to purge out all the impurities. Maybe the impurities tie into some type of distorted belief or perception you have about yourself, like the way you see yourself, the way you allow yourself to move through your life. I kind of feel like that's not going to be allowed anymore. You know, it probably has a lot to do with self-denial, right? It probably has to do with you not being willing or able to see the gravity of you, even like to consider it, to consider that you have a gravity that you don't recognize yet. I feel like people can see you clearly, but you can't see yourself. Michael thinks it's hilarious when I make that face. He thinks it's hilarious because it's like me wanting to deny what the reading is saying. but I can't because this is general reading. I can't manipulate it like that. Yeah, very upside down in the way you see yourself. If you're going to be upside down in the way you see yourself, what's going to happen is the things that create or the things that stem from your creative space, which is where the feminine exists, it's going to be very upside down and distorted as well. And so a lot of what's happening right now is about a correction. You have bamboozled yourself. Stop it. You've bamboozled yourself into believing that you have no power, you have no say. No say? You don't know? Um, ooh. So it's almost this thing of you have a very elevated capacity to manifest. And you use this ability to manifest for pretty much everyone else, but you refuse to do it for yourself. Should I go to Vegas? Soul, soul. Should I go to Vegas? Is it what you're saying to me? It's time to go to Vegas. I can't. The anxiety is increasing. Your soul is trying to get you to step into a space of power where you are actively creating for yourself the type of circumstance that you need, the type that you deserve, right? These opportunities that you keep allowing to pass you by, pass you by. I'm saying. You're just non-compliant. Ooh. Ooh. I think we're all non-compliant. I feel this so deeply these days. I've been feeling somewhat depressed, and I honestly don't know why. I've been working on not staying in that state. These very destabilized states of awareness have just it's been too much. It's been too much. You know, like hyperfixation on things that you don't need to hyperfixate on. It's like, why hyperfixate on something if you're not going to hyperfixate in order to find a solution that can be implemented, right? Just thinking about and thinking about and thinking about issues is not healthy for you, Emmy. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at my husband again one more time. Ooh, look at you. Look at you. Well, hello. Okay. Now that I've looked at him again. Yeah, look, hey, stop. Stop. You're fine. This is about the process of you finding the ways in which you can secure yourself, secure your space, right? You guys, it's not a secret that I'm obsessed with this man. It's not a secret. It's just now you're kind of getting an idea of why I'm obsessed with him. I told him earlier, like, I'm showing you off. I don't care if you don't want me to show people pictures of you. I'm going to. You can't stop me. Okay, so card number 23, defend to the end the worthwhile. So, two things with this card. One, you got to stick up for yourself. Okay? If you think that letting people get away with all of the BS that they get away with makes you spiritual and makes you like somehow evolved, it does not. It does not. Ooh, I was watching a video a few minutes ago. And this guy was live on TikTok and he was talking about occultism versus new age, right? And my gosh, people were all rubbed so some kind of way in the comments because he was saying how I was cracking up. He wasn't trying to be argumentative, but he's saying that basically the same stuff that I say. He has 20 years of experience in occultism, like official experience in occultism. And he was basically saying the same stuff that I personally believe and that I've noticed about the New Age movement and, some most spiritual communities and stuff. And the people were so riled up. Oh my gosh. They were so riled up because heaven forbid someone says the Galactic Federation. Let me not start. Let me not start. But here's the thing though, a lot of what we allow ourselves to go through is colored by our perception of the things that we are going through. People are like, you can't force your beliefs on others and this and that, but they're not. They're simply sharing their differing opinion on specific subject matter, right? These people who identify as new age and whatever else they identify as, because he was even talking about light workers and star seeds and the whole smorgasbord. And I was kind of like, why are you upset though? Not the guy, everyone in the comments. I was like, why are you upset by this person having a differing opinion? Because their opinion is simply that, their opinion. It does not take away from your perception of your value unless you don't really know what you believe. You always have to question a belief system that requires everyone believe it in order for it to be valid. There's things that I believe that I haven't shared publicly, and it's not invalidated because someone else doesn't agree. It's like I've lived through these things. Like you can have your opinion, but it doesn't affect my reality and my experiences because literally this is my life. I've lived through it, right? So your perception of you is what's going to turn things around if you let it. If you let other people's words get too far into your spaces, it's not going to turn out very well for you. You're going to have a hard time if you base your perception of your worth and the validity of your decisions, your belief structures, all of that on how many people will agree. Throughout history, um, the fringe concepts, the fringe beliefs, the things that, the general masses kind of don't believe in, um, they've tended to be the things that have been the most profound. During the time of Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, um, his belief was not the dominant belief. He was approaching being the dominant belief. He was making waves, and that's why he ultimately was executed. People don't like when you spread empowerment. They don't like when your existence serves as evidence of the validity of your existence. They don't like that. But I'm telling you right now, who cares what they like and don't like? Who cares? You have to begin making decisions for yourself and what's appropriate for you. You have to seek out what you know to be appropriate for yourself, because if you don't, I mean, you're gonna have a really hard time. You're gonna have a really hard time because we're entering into a period where you're gonna have to begin defending to the end the worthwhile. The sense that I get is the things that you're gonna be going through over the next period. And soul is kind of funny with that because soul can be like, oh, soon. And what soul categorizes as soon is like a couple years from now, right? A couple of years from now is soon to soul, because soul doesn't have any type of idea of human time. Soul doesn't go by Gregorian calendars. So soon, you're going to go through a process of needing to really hold on to who you are, the truth of who you are. There's going to be a lot of challenges presented to you, a lot of invitations to release your perceptions. Some of these invitations to release your perceptions are based in you recognizing some of your beliefs about yourself and your life and others is erroneous, right? I mean, that's hard for a lot of people to do, to admit to themselves that they've been wrong. Not everyone's going to be right, and you definitely will not be right all the time. So you need to start becoming aware of the spaces in which maybe you need to reconsider some of the things that you believe about yourself, about the world around you. And as you do that, you begin to develop a better sense of exactly how worthwhile you are. Because look, defend to the end the worthwhile. That knowledge, that gnosis, that knowing, when put into action, when applied to circumstance, it then transmutes into wisdom. You have lived an entire life worth of school, spiritual school, soul school. You have lived an entire lifetime of lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson. I mean, at some point, you're going to need to begin applying the things that you've learned. If you don't, then what were you learning for? I mean, you're going to need to apply those lessons. At some point, you have to. You have no choice. And okay, let me rephrase this. Let me revert it. You have a choice, but if you don't want to continue in the same stagnant cycles of struggle, then you're going to have to apply what you've learned. If you don't apply what you've learned, you're going to continue in the same cycles of stagnation. And that's that. There's no debating it. There's no disagreeing. There's no none of it. None of it. None of it. Okay. Dream a beautiful dream. You are at the epicenter of everything you dream. If you allow yourself to think that your dreams are not allowed and are not valid, unless you're going to be existing in this space of being a martyr or a messiah, I mean, oh, God. As you get tired of those, where you feel like your only options are to either be a martyr or a messiah. I mean, couldn't you just be you? Right? I mean, do we all have to be the next Jesus? Do we all have to like devote our entire existence to hopefully being canonized at some point? Like, you want to be a saint? I don't. I have an inkling those people were miserable. I, I'm serious. I'm serious. I kind of feel like saints probably lived very miserable existences. They didn't like it, and they were just like, well, I got no other choice. And then someone up in the religious hierarchy was like, I kind of feel bad for this schmo. I kind of feel bad for them. Let's throw him a bone. Throw him a bone. Let's make him into a saint. That's how I feel like it. I mean, that's what it seems like it goes, you know? So allow yourself to have this moment of really just figuring out what you want, what will make you happy. Just allow, consider it. What would make you happy if the world didn't require any type of money, if the world did not have um, any type of obligatory anything? What would make you happy? If everyone's needs could absolutely be taken care of, and we lived in a utopia, what would make you happy? I mean, do you even know? Do you know? Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered what brings you joy? Because I think for most of us, we don't allow ourselves to consider what brings us joy, because when we do, we're made to feel as though we are being selfish. I'm saying there's never going to be a shortage of people who want to use you and will exploit your sensitivities to people accusing you of being selfish. There will never be a shortage of people who will do that to you. Never. I know people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I mean that's so pessimistic." No, it's actually very realistic. Very. That's what life has shown me. So just because there's never going to be a shortage of people who will exploit your insecurities and your fear that others will see you as a bad person does not mean you have to play into that. It just, yeah. People continue that type of behavior until you don't reward that type of behavior with your compliance. It's just one of those things. I used to babysit one of my little cousins quite a bit for a while. It must have been like, I don't know, like 13 or 14 years old, something like that, right? Oh my gosh, he was so naughty. He was so naughty. I was just like, "Why are you like this?" He wasn't naughty with me whenever I would babysit him, and I never spanked him or anything like that. I mean, that's my cousin. And I didn't have to yell at him either. I would just ask him and he would, you know, do what I ask. Like, "Hey, it's time to take a nap." And so he would be like, "Okay," he would take a nap. But I remember I must have been like 16 years old. He was maybe 5, something like that. And we were at a family gathering. He wanted something and his mom didn't want to give it to him. My aunt didn't want to give it to him. And he pulled her down, like very nonchalant, pulled her down. So she kind of leaned over. And because I was close enough, I heard him like whisper threaten her. He said, "I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry loud." And I was like, "Marvin!" I got all startled. I was like, "What did you just say to your mom?" Yeah. And then my aunt was like, "See, they heard you." Let me just, I was like, "See, you was the problem. The kid ain't the problem. You was the problem." I was like, "Go ahead and cry. It's okay, auntie. I'll babysit." And I told her, "You can leave the room. I'll babysit." And he looked at me like he wanted to poop his pants. And I was like, "Go ahead, cry, mofo." "Go ahead and cry. Your mom's not going to be here." I mean, I wasn't threatening to do anything to him. I was just like, "Cry. We all heard you. Ain't nobody here care if you cry." I mean, he didn't cry. It's like he didn't do that again either. At least not when the older cousins were around, because all of us didn't really, we gave zero F's about like, "Listen here, little mofo. Your mom ain't here. You better act right." And you best believe he act right. But if his mom is there, he don't act very right. People will only behave as good or as bad as you give them permission outright or passively to behave around you. I have other people who are in my life who will act an effing fool with everybody. Not with me, though. Not with me, I promise you that. Why? because I have control, I have power. No, because if you want to be in my presence, you got to act a specific way. You can't go beneath a certain level, below a certain level of mutually beneficial respect and consideration. Like, that ain't cool with me. And so these people who everyone else will be like, oh my God, they're such a pain in the butt. They're this, they're that. They don't act that way with me. They're perfectly fine with me because I will not give permission for that. And it's not that I'm going to tell you what to do and criticize you. It's that I'm going to be like, oh, I got to go. I'm good. I got to go. So you have to really bear in mind how much permission and power you are giving other people over yourself. Are you aware of how much power you're giving? Are you aware of the ways in which your silence is emboldening someone else to continue to make things worse and worse and worse for you? Like, do you feel your stress climbing and climbing and climbing? Well, something has to be done, something has to be said. First, we got to breathe. First, we got to breathe and we got to allow ourselves to kind of just, all right, things have kind of just gone the way they've gone already. There's no point in being stressed out and angry with myself for all of these things that have happened in the past. I can't change that anymore. So let me see what I need to address in the here and the now, right? Yeah, that pause is super important, Lisa. That pause, you have to pause. As someone who's consistently go, 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 like nonstop, go, 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 go. You gotta pause. You gotta pause because if you don't, then you create problems for yourself. Case in point, not long ago, I'm so sad. I am. I'm so sad about it. Like, not long ago, we were at a state park bike riding, and I had my sun hat on, which is like very wide brimmed, and it has this the thing that you could tighten so it doesn't come off. I had my glasses on, and I was like, I need to put the straps rather than here. I want to put them behind my ears. And so I did, and I felt it get kind of caught on my earring, my Moldavite earrings. And I was like, oh, oh. Rather than feeling for both, I was like, oh, I felt the back of one and the front and the back of the other. And I was like, oh, they're still there. And then I sat there on my bicycle for a moment, and I was like, I don't know. But I paused. And instead of taking the time to figure out why I paused and double checking everything, no, no. I went ahead and I just stared at the sky. I looked at the sky and I was like, huh, are you guys ready? Yeah. And then maybe like 30 minutes later, after we've rode everywhere in the wilderness, I had that same feeling and I was like, oh no, it's missing. I had the back stuck to my ear, but the front was gone. You got to pause and do something with that pause. Had I just done something right then and there where I really made sure that they were both still on my ears, I'd still have a perfectly matched pair of earrings, 1 carat total weight of Moldavite. I lost one. I lost one. All I had to do was do something proactive with that pause. And my poor husband, he tried so hard to find the other earring. Y'all, it was like He was trying so hard looking for how long I got sunburned off it. I got sunburned. Yeah. Lesson learned, I guess. Lesson learned. Or was it? Was it actually learned? Because I tell you, that's the second time I lost that earring. The first time I had to go back to the store and I bust into someone's fitting room. I literally burst into someone's fitting room. Hmm. Hoping to find it on the floor, and it wasn't there. And I like went through the whole store and it wasn't there. And my husband found it for me. And I should have known. I should have known not to wear it that day because I thought to myself, should I take my earrings off? And I was like, no, Demon Horita's everywhere today. I should leave my earrings on. I left my ring at home though, right? Oh my gosh. I lost a huge diamond stud that my mom had given me. It was huge. I lost it. It's something that serves as evidence of how things will circle back around. I was telling Pedro, like, just find my earring and just like magically make it reappear. I don't know. Put it in my bag or something, and I could just be like, oh, it fell off into my bag. If we don't learn, then we will eventually live through the consequences of the lessons that we don't master, the lessons that we don't properly, sufficiently learn, right? You have to have faith in the process. If you allow yourself to have faith in your process, you know, you lost a tire? Oh my God, Giovanni, are you okay? Did it blow out? Yikes. Yikes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hoping you're okay. Card number 11, diving for light. You got to go deep within yourself. You got to really, really go very, very deep into the lessons that you're going through, because if not, you're going to miss the most important components of what you're being taught, what you're currently learning right now. If you allow yourself, right? If you allow yourself to understand the gravity of the lessons you're being taught by your soul, you will then begin to master these specific sets of lessons that you're learning. Okay. Spirals of manifestation, but it's in reverse. So it's almost like maybe up to this point, you've really just been allowing life and circumstance to happen to you instead of being fully present, fully participating, fully choosing the ways in which the manifestation is going to present itself. Now you can't control everything, but you do have a pretty big say. You can't control everything, but you have a pretty big say in the way things play out. And for a lot of people, we don't realize how big of a say we have in how something will play out. We have a huge say. Huge, huge. Visions of life beyond death. It's almost like there's a part of you that doesn't want to go beyond the sense of loss, the experience that you had. Um, Whatever this experience is, it's emptying out the things that are unnecessary. So, all right, this is where you're at right now, okay? Not wanting to move forward, continuing with the same cycles of like, I don't know, being angry with yourself, frustrated with yourself, going through the same cycles, patterns of blame, Not allowing yourself to see, mhm, not allowing yourself to see what's been happening, the ways that um, your decisions are affecting how the event plays out, all those different things. This is not about blame. This is about um, being very present. This is about being highly cognitive and consciously co creating circumstance with others. You're losing your patience. Mm. Will you be getting some of this help? My screen keeps flashing black. Like, the amount of anxiety that I'm feeling all of a sudden. I wonder, is this anxiety having to do with your refusal to surrender? Your refusal to give in, to give up the resistance that you continuously choose to have towards your own process. What is it? What is it? What is it though, for real? Does it have to do more with you refusing to comply, refusing to be in alignment, just refusing, refusing, refusing? Yes, I'm not looking at the screen right now because I am having so much anxiety that I am actively avoiding and dissociating. Yep. Someone just asked, did you really just say that? I sure damn did. I sure damn did. I did. I'm looking at pictures of kittens. Like, what is she doing? I'm talking and looking at pictures of kittens. I'm serious. I'm very heavy in avoidance. And this is like getting too much for me. So I dissociated for a moment. Still kind of there. Card number 8, choices. Um, you have choices. You do have choices. You have different options that you can explore. If you're going to avoid the exploration of the various options that are being presented to you by your soul, then you're going to think that you have no other options. That's how it works. When things are presented to you and you refuse to consider those things, then you miss out on those things. That's how it works. So if you want to have all of your options available to you, then you need to be able to allow yourself to consider all of the options that your soul is presenting you. For some of us, we just need a timeout from the intensity of this process. Everything is about to turn around big time. It gets the hardest right where it turns around. Have you ever driven a vehicle whose power steering has gone out? Have you ever? So we had like I think it was an 86 Suburban at one point. It was super old school, very heavy. And then the power steering went out. I will not tell you why. Um, it went out while we were in Mexico. And so at one point, we were back home in California and I needed to move the vehicle. Power steering was out, super heavy. And what happened? Well, I did not use my brain. I thought that I could just muscle that wheel. And it's like, right? With the car completely standing still. You can't do that. I mean, you could try. If you're strong enough, you can. You're probably going to hurt your wrist. What I learned is if you're going to try and make a U turn in a vehicle that is old school, pure steel with no power steering. What you need to do is have a little bit of forward movement. And as the wheels turn, it's a lot easier to turn that steering wheel. It's a lot easier than trying to turn a wheel pretty much 90 degrees or darn close to it without any movement. So, if you think that things are going to turn around big time, excuse me, just like that, as you force yourself to stay in a complete standstill, yeah, that's not how it works. You clearly have power steering. You clearly are spoiled with your power steering. It's like trying to ram your freaking shifter into gear without pressing on your clutch. You're going to break your stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're going to break your stuff. So don't break your stuff. Allow some of that movement to facilitate the turn. You have to keep flowing. You have to keep allowing your soul to do what it does, which is, first off, help you navigate. Secondly, create movement. Third, choose a direction. That's navigate. Are you talking about options? Ooh. I asked the question, are you talking about options? And I just heard, y'all, what is going on? What are you guys living through right now? I just heard someone sees you as an option. I don't know how I feel about that. Are you okay with being an option? Because I'm over here like, an option? Honey, I'm your destiny or nothing at all. Option? I don't think so. I don't think so. You okay being someone's option? I maybe for some, what this could potentially mean is that you are the only option that they are considering. I'm sorry. I am not okay with that type of, no. 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 That got me all bent out of shape over my people being an option. Pff, I'm saying, you are not just an option. Please don't let someone treat you like you're just an option. You know what I mean? Um, ew. Ew is what I got to say about that. Okay. So someone, okay, I guess I'm being told I misunderstood. Um, the sense that I get is that you are the option being presented to them by their soul. If they want to move forward, if they want to progress through whatever it is they're needing to learn and grow through, they have to choose the interaction with you. If not, there is no hope of them getting through this process unscathed. That is very specific. They're going to go through some stuff. If they miss this opportunity to, I hear, rekindle communication. Is that romantic communication or just communication? Communication. Michael says if it was romantic communication, it would have been stipulated as such. It's just communication. So it's this ongoing message of, um, needing to interact with certain people, certain souls in order to, you know, have that expansion of your awareness that you're needing to get to the next part of your journey. You know, I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to bypass that or what, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Unconditional love needs to be tapped into. Okay. Unconditional love for the self before every other type of unconditional love. Unconditional love does not mean you suddenly have to put up with other people's caca. No, 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 and no. You can you can allow so much to destabilize you, and it's going to continue to destabilize you so long as you don't say or do something to stop whatever foolery is going on. You got to say and do something, right? You have to make decisions that will take you to the places within yourself that you need to be in order to feel the most empowered. And I think the reason we don't want to go there is because of the upside down emotions that we almost immediately begin to feel the moment we enter into those spaces. Those emotions are there because you never processed it, not because it's a never ending supply of emotion. If you never address something, it's going to continue to be there, right? So if you spill the milk and you don't clean it up, what happens? Well, eventually the milk spoils, it goes sour and it smells sour, it stinks, is a very yucky smell. And if you're going to continue to side skirt the milk because it's nasty, rather than cleaning it up, tossing it out, washing the floors, you're going to continue to have that smell become more and more amplified and worsen. It's the same thing with the really, really dense, yucky emotions. It has to be addressed. Your soul is lining everything up to turn it around. It's lining everything up to turn it around. You got to allow, right? Dispel darkness in reverse. There's nothing that needs to be dispelled. There are things that need to be acknowledged. There are things that need your attention. There are layers of you that need to be allowed to be sloughed off, right? You need to exfoliate your identity. I'm serious. You got to exfoliate your identity. There's nothing that you need to be protected from as you go through this process within yourself, right? Because for some of us, we're like, oh, if I go through this and I have to, protect myself from this, this, and this. And no, 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 no. You just have to agree to allow yourself to go through the process. Metamorphosis, allowing the change coming out of the chrysalis, giving yourself the time and the consideration to allow your wings to dry, allow the hydroplasma, the energy to be evenly distributed through your wings so that you can take flight. You're not paying attention to where you're at within yourself, within your journey. What you're doing is paying attention to everyone else and where they're at, what they're doing, and then feeling like nothing good ever happens for you. That really sucks because when good things are trying to happen for you, you're so caught up in what other people are doing and getting and receiving that you're too preoccupied to allow yourself to receive. There hasn't been enough healing that you've allowed to happen for you. And this lack of healing the wounds and all of the traumas that you've experienced, it's because you refuse to allow the change. Change is scary. because there's so much unknown. If that's how you see change, it's definitely going to be scary. If you allow yourself to shift the way you see it and instead see this process as, all right, I know what it feels like to be stuck in this space that I'm stuck in. I'm unhappy. I have anxiety. I have depression. I'm becoming bitter, whatever negative things you're experiencing, right? I have no opportunities. I feel like I have no one, yada, yada, yada. All of these different things that are valid. So if being stuck here means that's all you will get, then maybe it's time to allow the change. Because at least you won't have the same old unhappiness. Right? That's how I choose to see things. If I'm not happy with right now, then I welcome change. What type of change? How are you going to control it? How can you guarantee? I don't care. As long as it's not what I'm feeling right now, I don't care. Let it happen. Let me experience all of the different things, all of the different changes that are necessary to experience so that I can get out of this space where I'm very unhappy. Right? Ancestral magic. If you look at the way your ancestors have handled the things that have been difficult, you'll begin to see the type of power you have. So, my ancestors, my mother specifically, um, I was born abroad. I lived abroad for X amount of years. And my mother felt that there were not enough opportunities, not just for herself, but for her children as well. And she went through the motions of immigration, and we immigrated stateside, and that's that. You know how hard it is to do that kind of stuff as a single mother of 4 children, young children at that. I was a toddler when she put us in an airplane and flew us over here. I still have very distinct memories of her pinching my thigh because I was trying to climb over the plane seats. She had me by the window, and my siblings were trying to tickle me from in between the seats, the front. And so I was like, I'm going to climb over there. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. I was a toddler. And I was trying to climb over. And I distinctly remember her pinching my thigh and holding on to my ankle, and my sandal almost came off. Was I mad? And so I still have very distinct memories of that. She did that all by herself. Why? Because the struggle for that journey, the flight straight, and it was not a direct flight. I have very distinct memories of stopping in Honolulu and like banging on the window, the large window, banging on it, telling her I needed to go outside. And she's like, I'm going to beat you. My mom never spanked us. She's like, I'm going to beat you if you don't stop. But I have very distinct memories of this. I was like, there's something outside. It's mine. I have to go get it. I died in Pearl Harbor. So yeah, she's like, there's nothing out there for you. It's like, my body's outside. And, all of that was worth the struggle because it eventually gave her, as well as all of us, the opportunities that she felt we should have. She created opportunity for us by having the bravery to step out into a space of change. Now, imagine what you could do for yourself if only you would allow the change, right? If I was raised completely in the Philippines, I would be a completely different person. I would be a completely different person. I would still be spicy. I would still I would be Tabasco rather than ghost pepper. Um, you know, because right now I'm ghost pepperish, like careful. Careful how you handle me, right? Instead I would be like just Tabasco. Put it on some eggs. Depends on what will allow. Your ancestors were able to create opportunities that completely change the trajectory of your bloodline. And if you allow yourself to recognize how much power is in your ancestral line, I mean, it's going to be very life altering. It's going to be very, very life altering. It is. It is. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust your process. You just have to. You have to. There's so many things that have been hidden away from you, but it's still, even though it wasn't spoken about in your family, it's a truth that still lives in your bloodline. All of my mom's side, like my aunts and all of them, highly intelligent, very academically driven, right? And then there's my mom, highly intelligent, um, avoidant AF. That's who I got it from. But the intelligence makes up for all of that. I am nowhere near as smart as my mom. My mom was like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You could say she was a savant, that level of intelligence. I carry that in my bloodline. Mm-hmm. She gifted that to me and everyone else who came from her. And although things went the way they did for her in her lifetime, the potentiality of it. Yes, she was a BSN. You couldn't just call her an RN. She would look at you like she was a BSN. She had a bachelor's of science in nursing, BSN RN or whatever the heck she was saying. I was just like, who cares? I wouldn't dare say that to her because she gets so mad at me. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Even though you don't tap into that, it's still there. Her ability to figure things out was profound, but she would always pretend like, "Oh, I don't know." Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But she was avoidant. She didn't want to deal with things, so she wouldn't try and, share that type of information so that you wouldn't ask her later again. The intelligence is there. The potential to change your life is there because if you can apply that intelligence in a way that can shift the trajectory of your journey, I mean, you know. Ooh, this right here. This, oh my gosh, Chanel, this is powerful. I was just thinking, I don't even know my family, well, my dad's side, anyways. And I feel like that's where certain things come from. For quite a few different peoples, your ancestral line was broken because of the lack of awareness of what your line is. If you don't know your lineage, you don't know the gravity of your power. Let me say that again. If you don't know your lineage, you won't grasp the gravity of your power. If I was not old enough to interact with my grandma, my maternal grandmother, my mother's mom, if I didn't have like a huge um memory bank, because and I used to have photographic memory, not so much these days. If I didn't have such a photographic memory and I wasn't, and I was even like just a couple years younger because she died when I was still pretty young, I would not understand some of the gravity of my potentiality. My grandmother was a medical intuitive. She could scan. She didn't have a formal education. They were very, very poor. She lived in a village. Her line, powerful shaman, powerful witches. Don't you ever say that W. Do not ever say the W word to her. She will snatch your soul. She'll snatch it. But that's the bloodline. This is where I get most of my ability from. That's where I get it. She could fix sprains easily. I've shared this before. My cousin, who's close in age to me, we had a school field trip. We went to the same school and we were roller skating. We went to the roller rink. The whole school did. And she fell. She landed on her arm and they thought that she just sprained it. And so my aunt brought my cousin to my grandma, like, oh, can you do, like the healing touch? And my grandma was massaging her arm and she's like, that it's broken. And they're like, no, because all my family is medical. They're like, no, it's just sprained. It's not broken. No, it's broken. She was like, you better take her to the hospital. They took her to the hospital. My grandma knew it was a hairline fracture that barely registered on the x-ray. Hairline fracture, she could detect it. Cousin was in a cast for a while. Yeah. I have very pronounced abilities for a geolocation, for precognitive abilities, all sorts of different things. Her father, if you're missing your caribou, your buffalo, it's a buffalo. If you're missing your buffalo, your water buffalo, you go to him. You go to a mama and you like, hey, I don't know where my buffalo went. And he's going to be like 2 clicks southeast. It's sleeping in the field. And that's where it would be. So knowing that that's the bloodline I come from on my mother's side, when I began to have all of these abilities, it wasn't so scary. I mean, it was still scary, but it wasn't as scary as it could be because it's like, well, it's kind of what runs in the family. It's kind of what runs in the family, right? And there's still another aspect. My maternal great grandmother, I don't know her lineage, but I did spend time with her before she passed. Her eyes are violet, naturally, not cataracts. When she developed cataracts, they became kind of like a turquoise color. It was weird. And I was just like, just don't look at me. Don't look at me. As a little kid, I was like, don't look at me. So she would put Vicks on my eyes just because I said, don't look at me. Her eyes scared me. They were like a turquoise color. And no, she's, as far as I know, she's full Filipina, whatever that means. I mean, we were colonized quite a few times. Lord knows what's in her lineage. For all we know, she could be a biological descendant of the Lemurians who lived in Maharlika. I'm just saying, my relatives are kind of alienish. If you don't know your life, you don't know the gravity of your power. Allow your intuition to guide you. If you don't have the answers that you need in order to move forward, then just let your intuition be the very thing that ushers you along, okay? Light code injection in reverse. This is telling us that you're not going to be receiving additional additional potentiality, additional activations until you sift through all of this. You're going to have to. If you don't, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck for quite some time. And if you're already frustrated, I mean, could you imagine? Could you imagine the gravity of what it will feel like being completely stuck? It's going to suck. It's going to suck. Card number 14, natural endings. Eventually, all of this is going to resolve itself, right? And whatever it is that you're needing to know, it's going to come face to face with you. Oh my God, it's a person. A person is going to serve as a mirror for the different potentials that you're not aware of. So it's a person, whatever that means. It's a person. Come to terms with it. Allow yourself to accept. Not necessarily that you have to be romantic with someone. Like, no, if you don't want to be, you don't have to be. But you have to accept that there are some people who have a major role to play in your development. And the more you push them away and keep them away, the harder your development is going to be. The more complications, the more space is held open for parasitic things to come. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Creation doesn't like emptiness. It doesn't like voids. And so what happens is if you reject someone who has a proper place in your life, then there's going to be an empty space at the table, and any Joe Schmo off the street can go sit at that space. Your soul will allow it. It's typically someone parasitic. So there are certain interactions that you're going to need to have, or you're going to continue to have parasitic complications. Jeez Louise. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. It is what it is. It is what it is, and it's going to keep being what it is until you choose something different and put action behind what you choose. So I hope this reading gives you some kind of clarity. I hope this reading helps you to understand some of the things that your soul is trying to communicate to you, and that your understanding will continue to ripen and expand until it becomes something that turns everything around big time for you. Because that's how the process has been going. Yeah. That's how the process has been going. Hang in there. You'll get it. Hang in there. It'll be fine. You'll get through this. You might have a couple hiccups or whatever. You'll get through it though. Okay. Keep your chin up. You'll get through this. You'll learn. You'll grow and glow. And you'll develop the connections that are necessary to get to the next part. And then you'll get to the next part. And then there's going to be another part and another part. That's just kind of how life is, right? It's the basics of life. And you're learning and you're growing. And that's all you can really expect from yourself. There's no timelines. There's no deadlines. There's none of that. Just keep going. Okay? Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'll see you guys again very soon. By the way, I will be doing whatchamacallit, the 4/4 portal fire ceremony. I'll have that listing up very soon. I have to rush and get to my class. I got to teach right now. So I will get that up for you guys, and you'll be able to see when it's up. Until then, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. See you again very soon. Bye, everyone.